Hello and welcome to Indie Attack with Kelson and
Woody.
Today we have Petrichor. This is a game where you play a little girl, and you are, well, maybe not a little girl, you play a woman, and you are navigating through a rainy forest. And it is a platformer of sorts, a point-and-click platformer, actually, which is kind of an interesting little combination genre-wise. And
you kind of travel around the world, you collect these pages, and then the pages, you take them to a bonfire and dry them off. And once dried off, they give you a new ability. It's a little Metroidvania-esque, about how you get the ability, you can interact with new stuff in different ways. There's occasionally some backtracking to go and, I can do a thing now, but that thing was way back there, so you have to go back and do that, and then that lets you go even further in the other direction.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of the things revolve around your umbrella and how, at first, you can pull on, you can use it to pull down stuff, and then that will open up a pathway, and yada yada. So I would say this game really firmly, kind of a lot of these games that we did during this grab bag of stuff week, this is another experience game. It's about 15 minutes, a little longer, because you have more to do in this.
This is, I think it's a bit more substantial maybe than some of the other stuff we've played. I really like the art in this. It feels like it's a bit more realized than some of the other stuff maybe we've done.
Yeah, this game, honestly,
it's charming. It's charming, it's low-key, it's a pretty chill experience.
It's like a poem in a way, and it's because it captures a feeling, and obviously it has the benefit of the soundtrack and the visuals presenting you this really nice. And I thought the scope was really, or the scale, was really nice, because you at times the camera will pan back and reveal bigger structures as you're navigating the level, and it gave it this sort of there was this mystical, almost Miyazaki-esque vibe that I liked to it, and it fit the Petrichor. I looked up. It's the smell. It's literally the smell of rain on dry land is what that word is, and it's such a lovely sentiment that they fused into the game.
And it's raining the whole time, and there, like you said, an umbrella is kind of like your puzzle-solving mechanism and stuff. And there's a couple little neat puzzle-ish things in here.
Definitely, yeah.
My issue with the game that I have is I mentioned backtracking, and for a game this long, there's quite a bit of backtracking, and I don't really feel like it serves much of a purpose.
I agree. I don't think that the backtracking really expanded the experience much, or gave me a sense of that's satisfying.
Because it's not the kind of backtracking where it's, I can go do a cool thing because now I have a new ability. And now I recognize that I can interact with the object that I saw before. It's more like, I got a thing at the end of a very long hallway, and now I have to go all the way back to the other part of the hallway. And it's not any different, it's not changed or unique, and you kind of get a couple abilities that you could use to maybe speed that up. It would have been cool to, instead of having to walk back, you get a shortcut back or something. That it's, so you can use your new power to get back to where you were in, 20 seconds.
Yeah, if you could have a Mary Poppins thing with the umbrella or something like that. I mean, you have the run, but that, kind of doesn't.
And it's kind of like the, for a game that's only 15 minutes long, there's too much backtracking. This is the kind of backtracking I would not mind if this was a game that was several hours long and had a few instances like this. But it being so short, I don't like there's as much of it as there is.
I think that is a very valid point, because, and I think it comes down to the core gameplay, like you said, because it's point and click. It's not a platformer, and that is the key difference.
Yeah, there's no real twitch to.
Yeah, you don't go up to this high place and then now I have this ability, like you said. You click here now, and it's a animated sequence then occurs within the game that you're not controlling, really. You're controlling the clicking. So I would agree with you. I wish that it had just been really just the design, from a design perspective, if it had just been ascending, because eventually it turns into an ascent up a hill is how the game concludes. And I feel like you could have just ordered that sequentially.
Yeah, you could have just ordered it around a little bit more. And the backtracking can be really cool, and I'm disappointed that the backtracking wasn't cool. I guess. I will because there's ways you can make backtracking more interesting.
In defense, one minor thing in defense, and I think the reason they were going for that is because with the gameplay, I think it's a patient experience, and it's a very meditative experience. Yeah, and I think that they thought, I feel like developers thought this will be naturally an organic part of the flow, and people will just be sort of entranced in the moment, and it's the disconnect there is that I was entranced and in the moment, and then I had to, and then there was just a bit of that little bit of frustration of backtracking, and so it actually sort of took me out of it. I can see where they would think it wouldn't matter, but I think it ultimately kind of did. And this is, these are small gripe, obviously, but it is kind of a big gripe in a way. I was disappointed with the ending. It kind of ends on a bummer note that I wasn't expecting after such a very whimsical, delightful experience, like the backtracking was a little annoying, but overall I was like, this is an enchanting kind of game. And then, it kind of ends on this. Be wary of the ending, folks, in my opinion, because I was surprised. And then I went and looked online, and everybody else, it kind of just ends suddenly, and it was like, oh, okay, It
was a common opinion of the ending, and I would kind of share that too. There was another scene after what happened?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
But that was what we got, and it was like, it didn't necessarily make a lot of sense in the context of what was going on, and it was like, oh, there's new things. But I think these are all kind of minor complaints, though, still, because what the game does successfully, it does really, really well. It sets up this nice atmosphere, it's really pretty, it has good sound design, and that's what make it worth playing, even if there are a couple of little stumbles.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the I don't think there's discussing minor flaws. I don't think it's not nitpicking. It's more just discussing games, and game theory.
So I would recommend checking this one out. Definitely.
100%.
It's a cool game. It's a nice little adventure game.
Absolutely, a nice little tranquil experience, and just be wary of a little backtracking and the ending, and otherwise enjoy yourself and savor the rain. Petrichor.